Game over.
Hey, hi, hello, welcome back to Movie Deathmatch Beatdown, where I talk about movies while playing video games. Today I'm going to be playing Halo Reach yet again, and I'm going to be talking about Into the Woods, directed by Rob Marshall. Oh, double kill snipe. Anyway, so Into the Woods is an adaptation of a Stephen Sondheim musical of the same name. I love musicals, full disclosure, straight away I'm going to say. And Stephen Sondheim's been behind some really good ones. And Rob Marshall's done a few movie adaptations of musicals I love, especially Chicago. Like, the film Chicago is brilliant, and I absolutely recommend that to people who might be getting into musicals or for somehow love musicals but haven't got around to watching it. I definitely recommend it. It's got a brilliant cast and great songs, and it just works so well on the screen. But Into the Woods is like not very good at all, really. I've not actually heard of the actual original musical Into the Woods, so this is a whole new world for me. And I didn't really enjoy it. It starts off alright, like the opening number which you get in the trailers. That's pretty much the only good song in it, and it's the only catchy thing it's got, because it's 2 hours long, which is fine for musicals, and I understand that, yeah, we've got 2 acts to follow, and we've got to make that into a film and translate it to cinema, but many movie musicals have succeeded in doing that. I don't know how or why it fails in the case of Into the Woods, because it feels really bloated and drawn out, and I don't see how that's possible. Because you watch something like Chicago, or I don't know, like Hairspray or something like that. Like, they're movies which, yeah, they're feature length, and yeah, they're translating the musical format to film, which should work, sometimes doesn't work, but in the case of Into the Woods it really doesn't work. And I'm not sure what went wrong, and I'm not sure if the actual original musical's great, because it's got a great concept to it. It's essentially the Avengers of fairy tales, because it basically combines stuff like Rapunzel and not Hansel and Gretel. Sorry, losing my train of thought. Little Red Riding Hood and Jack and the Beanstalk, stuff like that. And yeah, it's an interesting way of making it into like a singular story. How the woods brings about all these characters together in one overarching story about wishes, and like it's more of a darker take. Well, I say darker take. Fairy tales are dark. Like, if you ever read the original versions and not the Disneyfied versions, you can see that stuff's messed up. Like, the Cinderella stuff in Into the Woods is similar to what they do in the actual original fairy tale, where the stepsisters would cut off their feet or cut their toes off to try and fit into the slipper. That happens in Into the Woods. And yeah, that's played as very gruesome, especially that it is a Walt Disney production, this film. It is very much truer to the original tales, which I like. I like that a lot. And some aspects of the story and the concept of Into the Woods I love, but it's just way too long, and it loses itself, and it becomes a completely different movie in the third act. And it's really not a good thing. Like, that entire third act, or final act I should say, because really it's a 2-act structure. Yeah, this second act is just horribly put together. It just doesn't work. And by the 1 hour mark, I was already thinking it was done. Similar to how I felt when watching The Interview, where I was like, this is good for like the first hour, but then I look at the time and I'm like, I've still got 50 minutes to like another hour left, and I'm not looking forward to all of that time unless it pulls something out of the bag. And Into the Woods is very much the same, where I thought, oh, this story's done now. And it is done at like the 90-minute mark, and then there, or maybe the 80-minute mark, and then there's still like more than half an hour's worth of story that's tacked on, and there's like a prologue, but and sort of like a darker twist, Twilight Zone-y sort of ending to it, and it just doesn't click with me. I'm sorry. It's strange. I thought this was going to be like a very positively reviewed movie, and I think it is. But I myself, watching it, think it's quite a sloppy made movie, which I don't know how that's the case, because Rob Marshall's made some good movies. He's made he's made Chicago and some other stuff, and the third best Pirates of the Caribbean movie, I guess, because I don't know, I'm different to other people. I really don't like the third Pirates of the Caribbean, but I love the fourth. And by the way, if you're a Johnny Depp fan, you only get one scene of him in Into the Woods, so don't expect much of that. But he's alright. He's basically modern day Johnny Depp in this. Oh, too many grenades. Are we winning? We're losing. Oh, that's a first. He says, losing all the time. Sorry, just concentrating for a second. Ah, too, not good. And yeah, none of the songs are great in it, which once again is surprising, knowing the people behind it. I mean, Meryl Streep's fine in her role, and everyone's fine at singing. It's just no one's good at actually making a decent song, which makes no sense when you look at, Stephen Sondheim was behind it. Yet it just doesn't click, and it's very bland and dull, and it's not like, it sort of repeats the same sort of motifs behind it. Yeah, I mean, Les Miserables does that, and it works really well, but in Into the Woods it just doesn't. There's no impact for me, there's no catchiness, there's no wit or humour about the lyrics. I don't get it quite. Sorry, this is a close match. Gotta get those kills up. Yeah, I don't know. It's not even fine. Like, it went from okay to horrible in the space of... No, too many bad guys. There we go. I was generally unimpressed while watching it. It was okay. It was like, it was a 3-star movie by the first hour. Then in each half an hour interval after that, slowly dropped down to 1.5, I'd say. Because it's just, it overstays its welcome, and then it tries to be something completely different, and it just doesn't work, and that's really disappointing, especially knowing the people involved, knowing the talent. Really getting annoyed by that. Okay, but yeah, Meryl Streep is fantastic. She's kind of phoning it in. She's not her best. And that's no fault to her, I guess. I guess it's the material she's been given to work with. Because there's just bits where her first scene where she shows up is okay. But I'm watching it, I'm like, there's many points she's raising and then instantly dropping them. When it's like, you should really focus on some of the details she's giving. But instead it's like, let's move on and try and do something else or talk about something else. And I'm like, no, just focus on what you're giving us. Don't start going all over the place and doing other things and trying to be funny. That's the thing. Like, there's no laughs in this movie. Like, it's very pantomime-ish. And musicals can be hilarious. I mean, not just stuff like Book of Mormon, but musicals in general. They're very theatrical, very funny. Yeah, you don't get... Oh, God. You don't get that at all in Into the Woods, which is a shame. Like, there's loads of attempts, and, like, James Corden, I don't mind him. I know people who don't like him, but I think he's alright. Especially in, like, episodes of Doctor Who that he's in. Fantastic. He's great. Yes, Lesbian Vampire Killers, which I will never review on here, because I'm never going to watch that again, is a disaster. And I've not seen much of the TV stuff. But, yeah, James Corden in some things, like Doctor Who, and he's good in Begin Again. Yeah, he's not funny in, like, a lot of the stuff that he's trying to do. Or if it's physical or dialogue. Same with, like, everyone else in this film. There's, like, no laughs in it, apart from Chris Pine's in it, who's basically James Marsden in Enchanted. And, like, his brother's, like, the prince who's after Rapunzel. They've got a great sequence, like a nice song, which is very funny. And, like, the other prince that isn't Chris Pine, he's probably the few redeeming factors in the film. Like, he's great. There's, like, a bit where he jumps out the window holding Rapunzel's hair and then immediately regrets his decision. That's funny. That's, like, one of the only jokes that hits. But other than that, it's very bland. And I don't really recommend Into the Woods. Maybe if you, like, rent it or stream it on Netflix when it's on Netflix. Like, after, like, the first hour, half an hour, just stop it. Because that's as far as you should really go with this. It feels a lot longer than 2 hours. It's not like a musical where you hope there's even more to it. There's plenty of musicals out there which are definitely worth watching to completion, whether that be on stage or on screen. But Into the Woods sadly isn't one of them. It does not translate well to film. I'm not sure if the actual original musical on stage would work. Haven't seen it. Maybe there's a bootleg on YouTube. Go find that. But for me, Into the Woods is a pass, I have to say. It's not good at all. Starts fine, gets weaker, gets more painful and agonizing the more and more you watch it. So, I give that a pass. If you're going to the cinema this weekend, and if you're in the UK, because I don't know what's coming out in America, just wait for Whiplash. I'm not sure if I've uploaded the review for Whiplash just yet, because the timeline of movie Deathmatch Beatdown's all over the place at the moment with all the films and all the release dates and everything. But I have to say, Whiplash is definitely number one to watch. Foxcatcher, all the big award stuff that isn't Into the Woods, which doesn't deserve the awards praise it's been getting. Maybe for costume design or set design, but it won't win anything. It's not deserving of anything. Just give it a pass, I'm sorry. 1.5 stars is my final rating for it. Anyway, that's been today's movie Deathmatch Beatdown. Next films, probably John Wick. Yes. By the way, I finally realised I finally got to Into the Woods. I've been talking about it a lot while filming other episodes. I'm not sure if it's in the dialogue, but still. Yes. So, there we go. See you next time.